NERDSoul.
When it comes to Star Trek, question: Have you been following Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard?
Yep.
All right. What are your thoughts on both of them?
So, one of the things that, as a Trek fan, that I realized that after Enterprise is that Paramount was going to, whoever, or CBS, whoever owned the rights, they were going to do what they felt that they needed to do to bring in a new kind of generation of audiences, with still kind of trying to keep to the core of what makes Star Trek Star Trek. So you get the Abrams verse, which is kind of more action adventure. You have a little tinge of that Star Trek in there, but it brought people to the theaters. It made people kind of talk about Star Trek again. It made my wife interested in Star Trek. So, secondly, I always felt that Star Trek's proper place was always on television. So when they made the announcement that it was going to be on the streaming network, I got very hyped, because I knew that with this crop of writers and directors and producers, that this is a different day and age than when Star Trek was, from the 60s to the 80s to the 90s, and even the early 2000s. So whatever's happening in today's world, as with those various other Star Treks, is going to be involved in this, and kind of in whatever relaunches they do. Even the differences in storytelling. Like, if Star Trek now is more serialized versus episodic. That began with Deep Space Nine, which was telling like serialized kind of storytelling, sort of like Battlestar Galactica, which was interesting, because I'm getting really deep now with the geekiness. Ron Moore was the producer. Exactly. Yeah, and but you didn't necessarily, they weren't self-contained episodes. Most of them connected to the other, so you had to watch. So with all that said and done, I had a feeling that anything that was coming out was going to be not your daddy's Star Trek. It's not. And I know that it's really upset, and kind of pissed off a lot of people. And I do feel that there are some legitimate criticisms sometimes with the storytelling. I had a big issue with the last issue of issue, like it's a comic book, the last episode of Picard. But for me, I enjoyed the series. The same thing with Discovery. There's a moment in the second season where Michael Burnham meets a certain person, and as a black person watching that, I was just like, two of the most intelligent people in this room are black women. You never got that. You
can talk about that. I mean, it's
okay. Yes,
the season finale was almost a whole year ago.
Yeah, when she met her mom, spoiler, when she met her mom as the Red Angel, my mind just blew, because one of the greatest things that I always felt that Star Trek kind of brought to science fiction is a world that had gotten beyond the bullshit, at least on Earth. So our goal at that point was to expand further. Now, not saying when we got into space, there was still the BS. Everything is not going to be a perfect utopia. That's not what's going to happen. But when it came to humanity, we were just okay, let's do better. Let's try to, expand our horizons. And just the idea of just kind of traveling across the cosmos has always been something that's fascinated me personally, because I want to get off this earth. But secondly, I just love being taken to completely different worlds, and just kind of seeing how that tests, us as human beings. So that's always been Star Trek for me. So as far as seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery and Picard, I felt that they've done that, but they've done that within, this umbrella of new media that we're in right now. Everything, things are different. Things are not like when we were growing up watching Xena, Hercules, Highlander, all those shows where you probably would have a 2 or 3-parter which were connected. And now they're focused more on a binge culture, and also reflecting the world that we actually live in. We actually see a woman of color, leading the charge. We actually see LGBTQ representation, at the forefront, not as an afterthought. And in addition to that, telling a solid story. So no, I can talk
None
Star
of it
Trek
seems, at least, well, I'll say in Discovery, nothing seems like it's just here to check a box. Like Discovery has been, season 1 and 2 were solid. Like I said, 2019's best finale, even though it's a two-parter, because this is, I'm gonna say something to try to help myself. Since it's a two-parter, the best two-part finale / finale of 2019 was Star Trek Discovery season 2, and then the best finale, just one episode was Watchmen. Watchmen was just Watchmen was just dumb last year, man.
I mean, we can. Ooh. And that's another. I mean, that's another show. I mean, that's another show I can talk about. But yeah, like we and you know, just kind of tying it into comic books. You know, you get tired of not seeing yourself reflected. That's just how it is. Like, or you get tired. I personally got tired of seeing us as sidekicks, or as the humor, the humor aspect of whatever I'm reading, or just or not there. Period. For me, this kind of says something that first season of Star Trek, I'm seeing, Geordi LaForge, or I'm seeing a black man playing a Cleon on the bridge. That's kind of major. So when we have a black woman walking on water, I love it. In Watchmen and carrying that whole. I mean, Watchmen is another discussion in and of itself, but yeah. But I think that Star Trek has been carrying the mantle as well as far as could be expected. And remember, every Star Trek series never had a great first season. If anybody says otherwise, you ain't a true Trek fan.
Well, I contend that Star Trek Discovery, I really like season 1. I know there was a lot of dissent out there, but see, also I'm not your classic Trek fan.
Right.
My mom loved Star Trek. I watched it kind of because she watched it.
Yeah.
Then I fell off because I got to the age where I wasn't forced to watch what she watched anymore.
Right.
And then I kind of came back in during Deep Space Nine and then fell off again. And then going back and watching some of the series on Netflix, I'm like, yeah, Deep Space Nine, at least for me, is where I'm at. Because I like serialized storytelling. But then I do like the Borg stuff from Next Generation because I like action. So I like a lot of the Borg stuff. But Discovery, once they go into the other side, the thing that I think I like most about Discovery in season 1 is I feel like you got these people that were kind of sort of friends and sort of a team, but by the end of season 1, they were, I know the jokes, but they were a family.
yeah, I mean, and that's always.
It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Yep. And that's why, like in Picard, when he saw Riker and Troy, we're getting oh man, we get in the feels because that's a family. That's a family. Everybody has their Trek. You can have the original series, you can have Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise. So yeah, Discovery and now Picard, and you can have your favorite Trek and not like the other Trek, but you can't deny the franchise. I mean, the franchise, I always say, one of my bucket list goals is to write something within the Trek universe, comic book related. It could be a short story, it could be a miniseries. I mean, I'd be happy with whatever, but that's how much I love that franchise. My wife will tell you, I just did I think a 7th or 8th rewatch of Deep Space Nine. That's how much I love this. I mean, I love that show
all the way through, because that's not a short show.
No, I mean, that's how much I love it. I can.
Yo, shouts out to Cisco's shorts in the first episode, B.
Man,
shout out to them shorts.
Shout out to the shorts.
George was.
But yeah,
I was because I remember going back and being like, yo, I do not remember this episode because, and even when I interviewed the cannot remember his name, the showrunner. He was talking about like
Ira Stephen Bear.
Yeah, Ira. When I interviewed him, he was talking about how on TV they were kind of messed up because they weren't playing the episodes in order. Because of course, you were coming from something that wasn't serialized into something that now is, and they were just playing the episodes whenever. And he said that kind of hurt the show because at the time you had Enterprise going. I'm trying to remember, there were 2 series going on at once.
Voyager.
Yeah.
At first, they were running in tandem with Next Generation, and then Voyager popped up.
Yeah, it was Voyager. Well, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. That's one, yeah.
And when I watched it on Netflix, I'm like, I don't remember this episode. I don't remember this episode. I don't remember this. But of course, after interviewing him and talking to him behind the scenes, it's like, oh, they were just kind of like playing whatever. It was like, here's episode 3 from season 3. Here's episode 2 from season 1. Here's episode 15 from season 3. This is like, because when I watched, I was like, yo, I've never seen these shorts. But yeah, Deep Space Nine, I really dug it. Just in and out, and then seeing Discovery when they started talking about the people that were involved as far as writing. When they started talking about the actors and actresses, I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. And I know there was outside hate, but I was like, let me check out this show. And I saw the first episode. And I'm like, yo, they putting some money in this. They ain't making no whack stuff on this joint. Like, I can't think of a specific episode of Discovery yet where I'm like, nah, this is stupid. Or I was engaged. Now Picard, I've got my ups and downs on.
Yeah.
But like I said in my season review, I'm definitely, let's see where it goes. Because there's some stuff that I feel that the studio needs to get out of its system for the first season. Like, don't forget to put these people in. Don't forget, we got to remind them about this. It's like, so I figure, hey, there's certain things that just the studio wants to get out their system for season 1. So it's like, cool, we got that out the way. There were a lot of interactions or a lot of things where I'm like, well, why didn't we learn about this? Or why didn't y'all show us this? But now that that's out the way, hopefully in season 2, we can get those moments. Like in the end, you see Rafi with 7 of 9. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, did I miss an episode? Because
I talked to,
I was like, did I miss an episode? Because I don't remember them ever being like, girl, back in the day, you were so fine or something. Or like, anything to like give me, like, I'm like, yo, I'm cool, but you can't just drop this on me. I'm like, where did this come from?
That was one of the things. That was one of the things about the last episode, because I remember talking to my wife. I said, I don't remember that being even suggested, within the story. And it would have been nice.
I don't know if I missed something, but
yeah. That and the almost death was kind of frustrating for me, for as far as with Picard. It just those are the only 2 things with that last episode.
And see, that's the tough thing, because with the almost death, kind of like I said in my review, is it's mixed with something about this season that I love. I don't like almost deaths, and I don't like fake deaths. But the quiet moments with Picard and Data are gold. So now I'm on the fence, because I'm like, oh, so y'all gonna give me the fake death now? Okay. But then I'm like, there's this amazing moment between these 2 characters where you're kind of milking character development that was done back in the 90s, but I'll let that fly. But these actors are still killing it. And I'm like, now I don't know. I can't, it's hard for me to, it's like I want to be mad that you fake death me, but then I'm like, these actors are killing it. And this is a touching moment. So it's like, I don't know what to do. So that's why I was like, I left off with, let's see what you do. Let's see where you go. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely, I love the idea of like a conspiracy by the Romulans of a kind of like a deep operative inside the, can we get more of that?
Yeah.
We didn't get that. We barely got it. So there's a couple things where I'm like, season 2, let's see where you go. Because I was like, yo, I'd love to see what the political and diplomatic implications of finding a deep operative inside of the Federation when it comes to the Romulans. Because how do you handle that? Do we want an all-out war? Do we want that with the Romulans?
Well, they've done it before.
Are the Romulans going to cop to this? Are they, are we going to have a Cold War with the Romulans? But of course, that's a much longer show, and I understand. I understand when it comes to budgets, Discovery definitely has the budget off of this.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I was like, yo, there's all this interesting stuff that I feel like we just kind of like glossed over. Like the chick, I can't remember the Romulan chick that was like, being all sneaky and stuff. All of a sudden, she with the Romulans, and I'm like, so are we gonna arrest her? Are we just gonna let her leave with everybody? Like, are we like saving that for season 2?
Well, no, you saw Riker was about to light her up.
But still, they let her leave. I'm like, you can't leave. Like, you perpetrated an attack on a whole planet. Like, this is because when we can only kind of like put it on our terms. Like, would this be like, would the U.S. allow, I don't know, any country, Britain, France, Russia, Israel, Iran, China, any of them to do that without any backlash? It just seemed like it was like, all right, get out of here. And she was like, peace.
She was like, this is what. And the Romulans have already been, they've been hurt, so there's only so much you can do. Like you saw when they went to that settlement where Picard walked in like, oh, hey, everybody, how's everything going? And they were just like, you better get your English ass out of here. Or it's like, I was like, Picard, no, just go to the monastery.
Yeah, why is Picard walking around chilling like he's safe?
Exactly. He was speaking Romulan to them, and I was just like, no, dude, these people don't want to. But that's where the Romulans are, kind of at that point. Like, no, they've now, when she walked up in there with her shoulder pads and Riker showed up and said, you better deuces. He's like, you really want to try this?
He's like, I don't know if you really want this. I mean, if you want this, we can do it.
We can do it.
You're talking about a fight that even if you win here, doesn't end here.
Exactly. And you saw, the Federation has no qualms about saying deuces to the Romulans because of their history with them. They've had a war with them like way back when. So it's been, that part of the series, like them going deeper into the Tal Shiar, because I love the Tal Shiar, the concept of them having a deeper branch, which are almost fanatical, was very interesting to me. So I think a lot of, let's say, traditional Trek fans just want them to trek around the universe, and it's just like there's so many more stories that you can tell, when it comes. And I do think that there are going to be some stories where you do get the traditional Trek. I'm a firm believer that they're going to do a Captain Pike series. Like I wouldn't be mad at a Pike series.
Like I've liked the, Pike. Even Lorca was entertaining to watch. Even though around episode 2 or 3, I was like, I don't know if I'm on board with this guy. And I was right. I was like, this guy's cool and all, but he's a little risky, isn't he?
Yeah.
And now we know why, of course. But I was like, I don't know.
Got body parts and shells and stuff. But yeah.
Oh, I'm happy. Yeah, they're doing the series with Michelle Yeoh, who
Section 31.
Yeah, Section 31. Yeah. Like, who should have been getting her props for years, but I'm glad she's getting her love in this show or in this universe. And Section 31, when that's a whole nother thing where I was like, oh, word, all black suits with the black back. Word.
Yep.
Like, cause that's
What is
up
it?
my alley.
But say dressing all black like the Omen. Like, that's it's a little bit old. A little bit old
Yo,
school.
man. Yo, but people that know, they know.
Yeah. They and Section 31 was introduced in Deep Space Nine, so people do your homework. They've been around for a minute.
Yeah. So just having and see, I didn't know that until I watched the full series because Deep Space Nine is not a short series. But watching it through, I was like, oh, word. Yep. Cool. So this is technically a callback because I thought Section 31 was new. And then I was like, oh, no, it's a callback. Cool. I was like, yo, so yeah, that show is crazy good. But with all that said, Star Trek, it's great. We love it.